Hi, I'm Mary Beth Jacobs, and this is video 2 of 3 companion videos for the TKGA Winter 2017 Cast-Ons Learn Something New article. This is the second method of spit and splice that is discussed in that particular article. This technique aims to be very precise in controlling where the splice occurs, such that you can have two stitches right next to each other in different colors. Okay, so let's discuss how to do this. For this particular swatch, I have 20 stitches, so I knit across 10. So I'm at the point where I want my color change to occur, or my yarn source change to occur. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work to the point where I want the stitch color to change, and I am going to cut back about 1 inch or so, a little bit more maybe. Sometimes that gives you a little more confidence. So here I go, I've cut my yarn source. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to twirl apart and remove all but one ply. Okay. So this particular yarn is a 4-ply worsted weight. You could do this technique with the 2-ply fingering weight, which is what I usually work with when doing most color work projects, but it's the same either way. It's not half the ply, but all but one. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut again, and I'm going to cut every ply except this single ply. He's my lone guy. Now, I'm going to first make sure that my tension on the needle is consistent. I don't want this stitch to be overly large. I don't want it to be death grip tight. I'm going to trim. I don't want to trim right up here because there's a chance that the stitch could pull forward and pull that color change. I'm going to trim about 1 millimeter, maybe 2 millimeters back. Very blunt. I like them blunt so I can see what I'm supposed to do. So there we go. That's a little scary. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare the color that I'm changing into, and I'm going to do it the exact same way. I'm going to remove all but one of the ply. I'm just going to pull that little fella out, and again, oops, very bluntly, I am going to cut everybody but that one guy. Okay, so there we go. Can't do much with it like this, so now I have to unknit or tink back, and I want to do that until this yarn is about, oh, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 inches. Won't be that far. There we go. This technique I had actually learned several years ago on a YouTube video that has since been taken down. So which was unfortunate because it was a really big game changer for me. Okay, so here we are, we're ready to go, and again we're going to do the spit part, and that doesn't take too long. We just kind of stick the ends in your mouth, and there you go. Now what we're going to do, and this is part of why I like them blunt, is I like to line up those chopped up ply like this, and then I want to hook the single ply back upon itself. So here, let me do it loosey-goosey so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm basically making a big 2 U's, but I'm going to pull that U so that it ends right at the point where the yarn has been chopped. You can see there. Here, let me, still getting used to this camera placement. There we go. And then this guy, I'm going to pull through here. There we go. Okay. So I've got them interlocked. Now I'm going to ever so carefully place the whole thing in my hand and just kind of rub. You can see it starting to fuse together. Oops, I just pulled it through. Not nice. A little more spit, I think. There we go. Okay, and again, I want to take my finger and just kind of make sure that those ends are really fused down. Yeah, I think that looks pretty decent. There we go. Okay, so I have a very abrupt color change right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish knitting across. Let's see if I did it right or if I have to make the video again. There we go. Be a little tacky when it's right after you make this splice, so you just kind of, there we go. Ha-ha. And it worked. Alrighty, let me just finish this. There we go. Okay, so here we are. And you can see here's where the splice happened. And I have this stitch in yarn A and that one in yarn B. And from the back side, you can see that it is also pretty uniform. My color change sits right down there. If you can see that, sitting right where I want it. And then here, down here is one where I've worked it through a little more. Again, from the back, you can see that color change sits right back there in the bottom between those two stitches. Okay, so this method is quite useful because now I can take this method and I can use it for color work projects where I have a need to precisely control where the color change occurs. One thing that's a bit of a drawback on this part of the methodology of making it is that you have basically an extra ply on both sides of the join for about 1 inch. It's fairly invisible. You can see here it's fairly invisible, but there are times where it does show through depending on the type of yarn, the color of the yarn, the project, and it does show through sometimes. So the next method that we're going to show in video 3 will help to try to control both precision of where the yarn color changes and also to control the thickness of the yarn.